to understand the visual world by relating it to prior knowledge, then we would want to give the octopuses some sort of visual stream, visual information, visual learned behavior, and then ask whether or not under psychedelics, without those inputs, they're able to reproduce those camouflage color changes on their skin as if they were in that visual regime. So we're definitely interested in it, and the visual system and the chromatophores are a whole area of octopus research that's, blossoming. I am personally no longer a visual neuroscientist, so I've kind of left that to the experts, but it's a great question.
Well, thank you. Thank you. A very serious answer.
Months, but so excited to get access to all of these amazing ideas and findings and theories around consciousness. So last year at this time, what I was doing is performing off Broadway, going to a real venue with a real audience, and one of the shows that I was doing is called The Rap Guide to Consciousness, and this is like a 90-minute deep dive into various theories of consciousness, about the neuroscience and philosophy of mind and everything. I sort of took people through various theories. So when I was listening to the speakers today, I was thinking about scenes in my show that might fit with the talks, and I think I picked out the perfect one. So what we've got here is integrated information theory mashed up with some of the recent research by Robin Carhart Harris and his team on the brain activation patterns under psychedelics, as well as some ideas about octopus nervous systems and where they parallel or don't with ours in terms of how they're distributed. So this song is called Cephalopod, and what you're going to see right now is me performing for a live audience on a stage. We shot this video last fall, and you're going to watch like a 7-minute scene where I break down integrated information theory and then rap to an octopus at the aquarium on mushrooms and try to take a deep dive into these theories. So let me do a little screen share right here. Make sure I'm sharing my computer audio. 1, 2. Share computer sound, and I'm going to give you guys Cephalopod from the Rap Guide to Consciousness. Go.
You can see which one is your favorite. The first one I already talked about. It was called Fame in the Brain. Here comes the second one. It's the Integrated Information Theory of Consciousness, also known as the Integrated Information Theory of Consciousness. Did you all just integrate that information? All right, I'm finished. I'll elaborate. Notice how integrated your consciousness is, right? Let's say you're looking up here and you're not getting distracted by the pretty visuals. You're looking at me as you're supposed to be doing. Either way, all you're seeing is colors, shapes, and light gradients, right? Those add up to the totality of vision. That's all vision is: colors, shapes, light gradients. But you can't see them separately, can you? Right? If you are currently seeing the colors separately from the shapes, that means you're having a stroke. Call a doctor! Because we know that information is processed in different parts of the brain and at slightly different times. But by the time we experience it as integrated. It's also very informative, isn't it? Everything you're conscious of, it's that particular set of contents and not the countless other things that you're not conscious of in each given moment, right? You are at my show. You're not at some other far easier to comprehend but ultimately inferior performance in Bloomington tonight. A football after party, let's say. I do appreciate it. So this theory basically just says, if our consciousness is integrated and contains information, as it clearly does, maybe that's all consciousness is. Maybe any system with integrated information will be conscious. How conscious? How much information? You can just add it up. You get one number. It's called phi, the total consciousness level of the system. That's why mathematicians love this theory, because you can do it on 3 electrodes or you can do it on 80 billion neurons, and it all works the same, right? It also makes predictions. Now, the phone is a bit conscious because the circuits have a little bit of phi. But also, everything alive is conscious under this theory. Even amoebas and even viruses would be conscious, even if they don't have any neurons or brains. They have DNA. And DNA has little bits of little bits of information that it encodes. Okay, most people can get their heads around that. How about this next one? Every bit of matter in the universe is conscious under this theory. Panpsychism. Mind infuses everything. How? Because the physicists have discovered that atoms are made of quarks and leptons, and you cannot do something to a quark without the other quark in the atom reacting in a way, and that is a tiny bit of information. Every atom has phi. So now consciousness didn't evolve on one planet to help organisms survive and reproduce. Parochial. It's a fundamental factor of physics. It's like mass. It's like energy. We have to discover how it works and learn how to measure it and realize that everything is infused by it. Suns are conscious. Rocks are conscious. Individual photons traveling through the galaxy for hundreds of light years were pretty bored, but they were conscious. Can you get your heads around panpsychism? Yes! I can't. I'm going to confess, a conscious photon is just incomprehensible to me. It means about as much as a triangular circle. But I did not crib this theory off of some New Age website. It's a real neuroscience and mathematical theory. So I'm going to give it a fair hearing. I will describe all of its precepts. It has been fact-checked by neuroscientists. This is indeed peer-reviewed rap. But I'm going to have to break it down using the form of research that I was most adept at in college, which was not quantum mathematics. I did not crib this theory off of some New Age website of psychedelic drugs. Don't do drugs at home. Go to the aquarium. I had a conversation with a cephalopod sipping on psilocybin. We integrated information. A skeptic would call it anthropomorphizing. Just a bloody reductivist busting the bubble of a panpsychic. But I swear to God, that octopus was conscious, y'all. We was vibing. Damn, look at those eyes, look at those legs, baby. Tell me, what is you thinking? People call me Baba Brinkman, and I'm tripping from this mushroom tea I'm sipping. Who am I? I'm just another Homo sapien. We're the last in a long line of hominids, and it's been a long time since one of us had a common ancestor with an octopus. Look at you, you're a living alien. I'm like Amy Adams in Arrival. Not as attractive, but just as passionate about the planet's survival. And I want to know, how can you be so good at problem solving and camouflaging when your brain is small, but your semi-autonomous arms have 2/3 of all your neurons in them? It's like that theory of consciousness they call integrated information that says any system is conscious if it's connected up and differentiated. It's got that mathematical figure called phi that's quantifiably calculated as a measurement of how much a whole is greater than the sum of all the parts when they're isolated. You probably couldn't calculate it yourself because you've only got 8 legs, but you can think of it as a measurement of redundancy, like the compression that makes JPEGs. And you understand compression, don't you? Because you fit through soda bottle heads. No bones about it, just viscous organs, tentacles, and a little bit of cartilage. The thing is, if this theory is right, and I can't say if it's right, I'm tripping hard, but if it's right, there might be something it's like to be an octopus's arm, a subjective tentacle perspective, like a mind that you would have 9 of, and when you swim in a straight line, I guess those minds, line up, and you combine them? You must think I'm a serious hippie. It's not me though, that theory is trippy. It's got multi-dimensional crystals distilling experiences mysteriously, and phi is incalculable, unrelatable. Even a worm has a phi of 10 to the power of 468 or so. So how much phi do you and I get? This whole theory is panpsychic. Is the universe really conscious, or is it just the psilocybin that I did? I'm trying to stay open-minded. Consciousness is unified and can't be divided, but when I'm high, the temporal signal diversity gets elevated inside it. So check out the magnetoencephalographic charts. My signal is off. My uncompressible thoughts got me tripping and talking to cephalopods. I had to go home and sleep that shit off. Later I came back to see my 8-legged friend, and the aquarium staff told me that she already laid eggs and was dead. But I still had a conversation with the cephalopod focusing on psilocybin. We integrated information. A skeptic would call it anthropomorphizing. Just a bloody reductivist busting the bubble of a panpsychic. But I swear to God, even its arms were conscious, y'all. We was vibing.
Okay, so that's what I used to do on almost a daily basis. That video was shot in in a theater in Indiana, but I was doing it off Broadway at the time as well. And I should say, where does that whole project came from? It actually came from the Tucson Science of Consciousness Conference, which I attended in 2016. And did this kind of thing where I did a presentation at the end of each day and attended the talks, and I wrote a rap summary of each day. And one of the people that I met there was Anil Seth from University of Sussex, and he suggested maybe we should work together on a rap guide to consciousness. And it turned into a whole show that I brought to the Edinburgh Fringe Festival and off Broadway. So very, very excited to be back. I will be here doing consciousness tonight, each of the nights, and I think we're gonna be able to have some guest interviews and some Q&A sessions. That whole freestyle thing I started at the beginning. Maybe tomorrow we can set it up so that you can put comments and suggestions in of themes from the day that you want me to riff on, and I will do my best to break them down. But for now, I actually have a brand new song that I wrote over the course of the day, and I got my little DJ iPhone situation here, so I'm gonna kick a live rap for you guys that no one has ever heard before, because I only wrote it in the past few hours after seeing what happened today. Check it. Life is like an epic, the way I like to tell it, connecting through chemistry, symposium, psychedelics. Even over Zoom, we socially vibrated, and from home, no one can tell if your pupils are dilated. Whoa, my ego just got annihilated, it feels violated. We're walking the path, but in the 60s, you know that Andrew Weil paved it. I mean, my entire basic narrative is peeling away. Extreme belief modulation, relieve my pain, melody haze. I listened all day to the workshops. Woo, freaking amazing. From mycelium to AI to anesthesia oscillations to psi research with Dean Radin, deep penetration. When I woke up this morning, I swear to God, I was clean shaven like Rip Van Winkle. Hallucinations get triggered like white neighbors escaping from Dr. Debbie Flickinger, a pioneer who diversified her neighborhood's balance. They only buy POC on the whole social justice panel. I'm assuming from the skin pigments in the room, one of y'all might have been passing just like Jessica Kuhn, but please forgive a naive rapper for a bit of obnoxiousness. I'm just trying to tackle the issues and raise my critical consciousness, diversify voices. Too much monochrome is poisonous. As a white rapper, I could either quit or just try to make mindful choices and stay the course on a path psychedelically endorsed. I mean, character makes all the difference. Just ask Steven Schwartz. This planet is off balance, the orcas are splashing, but if you want the good shrooms, you can get them from Paul Stamets. Big announcement tomorrow. You could watch him closely, and you could sign up for his app if you're into micro-dosing. Micro-dose me. Come on, Dennis McKenna. I'm curious about boosting up my personal antenna and getting centered. I even bought your home psilocybin kid, but all I got was mold. My fault. I was a kid. I was just trying to be adventurous. Better than drinking Drano. Dancing on the verge of psychosis. Francisco Moreno. Katja Ehrman. What is the evidence base for treating bad trip trauma from youth with psilocybin? Today I had bad trips. I had bad trips. What happened to my cells? Mark Raznick. No psychedelics distracted me like your mustache did. I try to stay reflective even if my mental state is restless. Just an empty vessel for Sigma 1 signals with 80 frecks of fantastic fungi. A hardcore nerd for the science and the fractal visuals of Louis Schwartzberg. I mean, my flow is truly ballin'. I'm cool flowing like Ghoul Dolan, octopus tripping balls. I'm gotta go. My Uber's calling. I mean, psychedelics are disruptive too. Ask Julie Holland. Pharmacologically journalistic like Michael Pollan. I need a new pronoun for I, cause I no longer exist. It's the age of new pronouns, so just add it to the list. I'm extinguished animism, up in a computer following my inner path like Luis Eduardo Luna. I'm in tune with the frequency, it's biologically based like Gregory Scholes in a photosynthetic base. In the phase of Pietro Perconti, he had it right, I'm endorsing him. Robinson Crusoe was not conscious, so we could have tortured him, raised by wolves to transform. Eye of the storm, what happens when your mediums underperform? Arnaud Delorme, try to keep the psychic connection fiery and never get distorted by performance anxiety. Just hit the quantum professional entanglement stage like Roger Penrose in Zoom, labeled with a rat's name like Josh Horner said, baby, come on, what's the takeaway? Just take psychedelics and there's nothing more to say. No, take them places, let your complacency break up like Divya Chander watching anesthetized patients wake up. It's just a flow, a poem. I'm trying to balance my dome and break into consciousness studies like Leslie Allen Combs through a non-local path. I'm just running my lyrics, cause if you want consciousness, you have gotta study something different. I studied rhymes. I'm trying to be a better lyricist after a youth entangled up with some entheogenic medicines like Rajneesh Khanna did. Psilocybin and cannabis, typical of Gen Xers that came out of Canada's West Coast. Brainwaves exposed. I'm just glad to know my brain is noetic instead of just toast. So before my quantum microtubulin explodes, this is only day one, Stuart, so okay, let's go. Life is like an epic, the way I like to tell it, connecting through chemistry, symposium, psychedelics, yeah, even over Zoom. We all socially vibrated, and from home, no one could tell that your pupils were dilated. Whoa, my ego got annihilated. I'm feeling violated. We're just walking the path. Yeah, in the 60s, Andrew Weil paved it. My entire basic narrative is peeling away. Extreme belief modulation to relieve pain. Melody Hayes. All right. That was a little exercise in rapid creativity, trying to take notes on every single thing everybody said all day and then just make a rap out of it with no time to spare. I was literally writing that until, 2 seconds before Stuart was like, you ready to go on Zoom? And I was like, quick, last lyric, boom. But now I feel calm, centered. I want to thank Stuart for putting this whole production on and bringing such a diverse menagerie of minds together in one place. And I really look forward to the next few days. So that is Consciousness Central for tonight. No guests, just me showing you what I do. And I really look forward to coming back every night this week. We're going to do this again and again and get some guests and some interviews. And that's all. Hope you guys had a great day. Have a great night. See you all tomorrow. Thank you.
Soy from the University of Oxford, and I'll be presenting you our work on psychedelics and how they actually alter brain harmonics. So when we talk about harmonics, we're all familiar with the basic concept of simple harmonic waves, such as those emerging in a one-dimensional domain, for example, on the strings of a guitar when we play a musical note. And of course, the strings of the guitar is not the only domain where these harmonic waves emerge. They also form within the cavity of the guitar, and in this case, in the three-dimensional domain. And what's quite interesting about these harmonic waves is that they naturally adjust to the domain on which they emerge. So for example, if you were to change the shape of the cavity of the guitar, then the emerging harmonic waves would naturally adjust. And also, quite remarkably, these harmonic waves change their form, their pattern, when we change the frequency of vibration. So in this example, we see how each musical note, which is a different frequency of vibration, leads to the emergence of a different harmonic pattern within the guitar cavity. And even though these harmonic waves are seemingly very different and very complex, mathematically, they can all be predicted by solving one simple line of equation, and that is the eigendecomposition of the Laplace operator. So when we talk about brane harmonics or connectome harmonics, we are talking actually about simply extending the idea of this basic harmonic waves to the particular structural connectivity of the human brain. So by solving the very same equation, which is the eigendecomposition of the Laplacian, on the structural connectivity of the human brain, on the human connectome, we can estimate the shapes of these harmonic patterns, this time adjusted to the particular connectivity of the human brain. And when we solve this equation, we get these harmonic patterns that we call connectome harmonics emerging on the human cortex. And as we can see, for different frequencies, we see a different harmonic pattern emerging. And also for increasing frequency, we observe an increasingly complex harmonic pattern forming on the cortex. And the set of all of these connectome harmonics actually yields a new harmonic language of the human brain. So given any brain activity data, what we can do is we can take the brain activity